Hello, today I would like to talk to you about establishing boundaries. One of the first things that God has shown me in my healing process, of bringing me back together and making me whole, is that there needs to be boundaries. And what He has basically shown me is that anybody who crosses those boundaries, right? What does the Bible tell us? To forgive one another of our trespasses. And what's happening in those trespasses is when you cross over into the territory that is somebody else, when you violated them in some way, with your words, your actions, you've taken something from them, whether it's a physical thing, or you've taken their possessions, you've stolen from them, or you haven't allowed them to just be who they are. You haven't allowed them to voice their opinion, voice their belief systems. That's all trespassing. Abuse essentially is whenever you compress someone, depression is a hollowing out, right? It has, like, if you take a ball and you depress it, it's closed in on itself. Anybody that makes you hem in on yourself, anybody that closes you in, boxes you in, this is all abuse. What we are to do as Christians is we are to edify, we are to build up. So actually being around people who not only allow you to have your space, but they give you more space, And if we look at this from a scientific standpoint, what we know about science is electrons in their outermost shell are bouncing around, and you're sharing those electrons with the room, you're sharing them with objects around you, like I'd be sharing them with this car, and there isn't a violation of, boundaries, so that's what can happen when healthy people come together. They're free, there isn't anything limiting them, so their orbits can actually overlap, and there's the oneness, right, that the Bible talks about. We're sharing and we're building up, and you can take up the whole room and I can take up the whole room, and we're not compressing in on each other, because I'm allowing you to be you, I'm allowing myself to be present, right? That's what abuse does, is it makes you disassociate and you leave the here and now, which is where God is. God is in the I am. He wants you to stay present right now. And years of abuse will make you disassociate, and you go either to the past or you go to the future. You ruminate, right? You'll go and be depressed about the past. They did this to me. I can't believe it. They did this to me. You keep just going over that and over that and over that. Or if you go to the future, you're afraid maybe this will happen. Maybe maybe this here, maybe that there. And so that is all the work of the enemy, and that has pushed you out of this space. You're basically like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that somebody smashed. The jelly is like all over, the counter now. It's left that space where it needs to be, and that's you and your thoughts, So that's what happens with abusers. They will push you out of your boundaries. Boundaries are very much created by God, and our boundaries are to continue to grow, and we need to be around people that make that possible. Recently in the church, I met this individual, and I just don't feel good around him, and I was trying to understand, what is it? Why do I feel this way? How can I articulate this to him in a positive way, in a nice way, just basically I don't really want interaction with you, right? And what I've come to discover is that not only does he have a lot of contradictions, like one day he'll say one thing and then the next day he'll say the exact opposite, which is very unhealthy. That's a trespass, right? That is violating my ethical positioning, right? You want me to believe lies, and I'm not going to do that. So that's a compression on myself, right? On my belief system, But then there's another thing that he does, and he will just any conversation that we're talking about, whatever it is, like if we're talking about the foods that you should eat or whatever, he will automatically step in, and he's the authority on the subject. He's going to tell you what he believes, and that's the final truth, and he presents it in a way that you having any alternate thought whatsoever is you're in error, right? He doesn't allow you to have your own thought processes. That's a compression, that's a narrowing, and that's why my body just resists him. That's why in the most subtle ways I don't feel comfortable, and that's what we need to pay attention to when we have an interaction with another soul, another being. Do you walk away? Do you feel as if you've grown? from that interaction? Do you feel positive? Do you feel like a ball that has enough air that it's bouncy and you're just full of joy and you can bounce on out of that interaction and you want to go back to that space again? Or do you feel as if it was a compression? There was something wrong, like a job that I go to, like the room is so full of negativity and so much manipulation, and the just the negative will of people that you can feel it. Like the second you walk into this building, there's a compression, and it's almost unbearable to be in that environment. Okay, so we need to pay attention to how people and situations are making us feel. I'm not saying that we need to be led by feelings, because that is a whole nother issue and we can get into all kinds of problems, but we need to be led by the Spirit of God and what He's telling us, what our intuition, what the Spirit is speaking to us, because this is how we're going to navigate these people and navigate these situations. So I hope this is helpful. Okay, when people come in and they hem in on you and they compress you, we need to put boundaries. We need to put a distance between ourselves and those people, because they're not helping us to grow. We need to be around the people that actually give us space and allow us to be who we are. They respect our ideas. They let us talk. I used to interrupt people, and I never understood why that was such a problem, because that's a trespass on their very being. They're actually coming out with who they are, okay, and what their thoughts are, and I just keep cutting it and cutting it and cutting into that, right? And that's something that I really try to focus on. Like, no, let people have that space, let them bloom, let them be like that turtle that's coming out, because that is who they are. Let them take up the room, let them feel like they have the right to speak, okay, and have their being. Okay, they don't have to be the turtle that's in the shell that never comes out, never expresses themselves. Okay, this is what we're talking about. So we want to not only be around these healthy people, but we want to be these healthy people. So I hope this is helpful. God bless you. Hope to see you again. Bye bye.